Yeah. Okay. Welcome to the podcast. Today we have, and I'm honored to have him, a very close friend of mine, François Dussaint. And I've known Francois for a number of years now. So I've become a close friend in Mauritius. And Francois is a personal trainer, and he's my personal trainer, and so I've become a close friend through that. But also, we do quite a bit of socializing nowadays, don't
We do.
we? And I thought it'd be a good opportunity to have Francois in and have a conversation with him about the topic of fitness and the industry in Mauritius. Um, so yes, I thought we'd take a time out and do that for you. So I have a number of questions for you. Um, First of all, do you want to just give the listeners a little bit of a background about yourself and how long you've been in the industry now, and I suppose what really kind of got you into it?
Okay, so thank you for having me on. This is going to be an interesting hour or so. So my background basically is comes from um, a teaching background in terms of exercise. I wanted to work as a PE teacher in schools, and that was my main study uh, before I became a personal trainer. I decided to get into personal training. It's been nearly 25 years now, um, because I've felt that it was something that I would enjoy initially. And at that time, personal training was just kind of becoming a trend. So I started the process of certifying and doing experience. I did some experience work in Hong Kong, and then back in the UK, and then decided to come to Mauritius with the idea of actually teaching PE. But again, 25, 27 years ago, Mauritius didn't actually have a structure in schools that offered physical education. So I knocked that on the head and then began um, in the fitness industry. And my first um, job in the industry was a business unit manager in a four-star hotel, which had the first fitness and spa on the island. And I basically did that for 5 years. So I ran the unit, which had a little gym. We did a few group classes it's in a hotel environment, and some personal training, and of course the health, the wellness side with different types of massage treatments and beauty treatments, which of course I didn't do, but I had a team to do it. And then decided that I would go away from the hotel industry and start freelancing as a personal trainer. So I did that for a couple of years, worked a lot on the island, many different gyms, did also quite a bit of instructor training during that period, and then was hooked onto a club in the West called, at that time, Riverland Sports Club. And I started teaching for them as a freelancer, and then was offered a job as sports and events manager. And then from there, I became the general manager and did that for a number of years. Um, and now I'm back as a freelancer. So it's a long journey, but I think very interesting in terms of I've learned a lot of things along the way uh, about the industry in Mauritius and where it was and where it's going. There you go. That's about a little bit of
So where you started when you came to Mauritius, I mean, the first kind of, let's say, the gym you went into,
Yeah.
and where the industry is now. What is the what is the difference now? I mean, there must be um, many years ago,
Yeah.
the equipment itself, or how it was focused to what it is these days.
So obviously, this is when I first came to Mauritius. There weren't many. Actually, there weren't many gyms in Mauritius in general. Um, but of course, it was 25 years ago, so the equipment was very much your hardcore bodybuilding. You know, dumbbells and bars and benches, and they had a few assisted machines. Um, I think with time, with like in any industry, you need to kind of evolve with the new stuff. The only difficult thing in Mauritius is equipment. To get equipment into Mauritius is expensive because
Yeah,
it has to come from afar. So I think many gyms actually struggle to keep up to date. So the gyms that I went to when I first came have evolved. They've become a lot more modern, um, which is a good thing. There are a lot more gyms now. I think there's been a demand, a growing demand, generally on the island for to keep healthy, which is a great thing. Um, so yeah, there's definitely been a shift in improvement in all around the fitness industry in Mauritius since 20, 25, 27 years.
and what do you say? There has been obviously over the years a change because the equipment will evolve, and attitudes towards fitness have evolved as well. As you say, from years ago, it was kind of all sweat boxes. Everybody goes in the grunt and
That's
grinding
it.
with dumbbells and everything else. Whereas now you've got the cardio, you've got everything else that goes with the classes and everything
Yeah.
that goes with it, including the social side. What do you think actually, is there anything in Mauritius that's still missing?
I think what's missing in general is I think now we have they have the tools. The gyms are well equipped. They're very modern. I think what's actually missing is the idea of quality of service in general. So when your client walks in, right through to how your instructors and or your personal trainers approach and follow together with each individual the, their process or their journey to fitness. I think that is still we're still behind on that. I think we needs to be a shift in understanding of why you need instructors who are capable and who have the knowledge and who have the skills to keep your members happy and not just get them in the door and that's it, um, through the journey. Because the most difficult um, obstacle in any gym business environment is retention of your members. And if you're not able to keep your members happy from the day they walk in, then they're going to we know that it's like a 3 month um, period where people either continue after the 3 months or they give up after the 3 months. And if there's no follow up or no guidance or no motivation or somebody that's encouraging them every time they go into them, not just by telling them, but this is a great machine and this is how you need to do this exercise or put this into your program. Just basically understanding that what the rapport between the coaches and the clients and your members, how important that it is. It's the greeting. It's making them feel comfortable in an environment where most people don't feel comfortable because they're always intimidated. And that's up to how your the people in your business are coached and trained and guided. So I think we're still a little bit behind in that sense. There's an improvement. There are instructors who are understanding what their their actual job is, and not just somebody who stands in the gym and lifts and puts back the weights, and that's about it. It's somebody who's there as a coach in every aspect.
And do you think this is more, or what do you think this is to do with? Is this to do with education of the staff, obviously ongoing training, or do you think it's more, let's say, the businesses themselves are wanting, they're looking to put money first rather than they're wanting a return rather than actually their clients?
I think it's a mix of the two.
Okay.
Um, it's I mean, the gym business, all your owners or your um, directors want to be able to run a successful business, and that's normal. Um, but I think what they're missing is to be able to run that successful business is the people in the business that are going to help you make it successful. The coaches and trainers are, I think, a lot of them like information, they like education, um, and it's not just about I've qualified as a personal trainer and that's it. There are different levels. So how do you get better? How do you get better so you can give a better service? I think they just do a certification and that's it. They say, okay, and now I'm certified personal trainer, and now I just personal train. Um, there's the missing piece in the puzzle is maybe they need to understand why they're doing what they're doing and not just feel like it's a job. It is a job, but it's a lot more than a job as a personal trainer.
So you think they or should be trained on, let's say, customer support or customer relations, or actually just the giving that extra more client focus rather than just the training itself focused?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's super important that your your instructors are your drive in your club. People, whether it's group classes, whether it's just gym instructing, whether it's personal training, people come there for you. Equipment is equipment. Branded equipment is branded equipment. But if the people that are in your gym and the people that are every day, available in where you're working, if they're not up to scratch, then the equipment doesn't mean anything. They've got to be fully invested in how they approach and how they connect and evolve with their members. I think we're still behind on that. I think instructors are too focused on personal training. I need to make money. We all need to make money, yes, but I think they would make more money if they focused a lot on what kind of service are they giving? Are they their instructor who is just there beside their client and counting reps, or are they instructors who are beside their client, yes, counting reps, but checking their posture, encouraging, and telling them, yes, you're doing this right, and when they're not doing it right, you're not doing it right. So I'm going to, they need to be constantly with every rep, every movement that their client is tempting. And again, with group classes are very popular because you have a reach of a lot more people, and it's important that you, as an instructor, you're able to touch even each and every person with the way you teach, what you say, the way you coach. It's not just about following a program, doing a 45-minute class, and that's it. It's about how much rapport do you have with your clients in that class of 45 minutes. When they finish that class, do they feel like they've had a new experience for that day? And that's how I like to approach things. I want whatever I teach, whether it's a personal training session or a group class session, I want people to walk out my class or the session, say, that was great, I enjoyed that today, and I've learned something new, and I feel a lot better than I was before I walked in. And I think if we take that approach, we can only encourage people to continue exercising. And in the long term, it just means that will be able to do more work, because people will be more interested in what we're doing, and follow the trend of wealth, health, and fitness. What comes new. If your clients trust you, you can almost do everything that is new because they trust you.
Yeah, well, I think the thing that kind of the word that kind of sticks out is the word personal in personal training, and I take it from my experience in the gym over the years, but working with you, you being my personal trainer, the it's I look as forward to as much the training as to actually spending time and socializing with you as the trainer. And I know you've got my interest at heart as far as obviously the fitness and everything else, but it is this kind of, it becomes a very relaxed relationship. And also you say you have to take on board everything you have to say, and the instruction is there, and it's very fulfilling as far as I'm concerned. But I do, in a contrast, I've seen in a number of gyms, and especially here, where you'll have an instructor that'll just walk from one machine to another machine or exercise area, and and just they'll just sit down and they'll just get them, and then to another one and to another one, and it seems exceptionally sterile. And yes, the exercise is there, but it's as if that just additional care is missing. And that's how I look at it as well.
Yeah, I think I think that is also to do with how it's also to do with the education. Is what process have you been through to become a trainer? Um, there are, for example, if I was to hire a trainer or a coach, it might be group classes, it might be personal trainer, it might be just a gym instructor. Uh, there is a lot of you would expect somebody to come into an interview who's got some certification. So the certification is there. But does he have the rapport? Can he approach somebody,
Exactly.
a stranger, and say, you know, how are you doing? What are you doing today? How about trying this exercise? This might help you in your program. And then following that through, and not just being there, as I said, to make sure the machines are clean, or putting weights away. So there's the rapport, and then there's how prepared are you for what you're doing. As a personal trainer, I never walk into a personal training without knowing what I'm going to do with my client. I don't do a session just off the top of my head. Okay, let's do this, and okay, we'll do that and do that. I have my client's best interest because I know what their goal is. I know how far they are in their journey now. So my preparation for getting them better in their journey is important. And I do that with every client I do. I know exactly when I'm training that client, this is our program, this is what we're going to go through. And if we need to adjust, we're going to adjust it along the way. But the structure is there. So that's super important. And then it's your presence. You got to be in your, you got to be there, not just be around. It's not just being at work. It's about people saying, if you're not in the gym, people say, but where is this person? Even if you're not coaching them, they need to say, but where? I don't see this. Where is he? We missed him today. Even though he's not my coach, but he's around because he's going to come and check on me. He's going to have a laugh. He's going to chat. He's going to talk about what's in the newspaper, or the cyclone that's coming up, what it might be. But at least there is rapport, and there is the presence. And that, I think, makes a difference. And if you have a group of people in your club or in your gym or whatever it might be, who are like-minded and who take their work in that um, train of service, members and clients will only want to come back the next day, because they're going to feel comfortable. They're going to feel like it's a place that they want to be and not have to be because they've got health issues. But yes, we've got health issues, but I enjoy doing what I'm doing now because I really feel good with the people around me. They're helpful, they're fun, they're smiley. I feel great when I walk out. And that for me is how I like to see things in wherever I've worked. And when I go to places and I go to different gyms, I've been to many different gyms on the island. Uh, there is still that missing. I think that is something that I think people, the responsible people need to try to inculcate in the people they choose to work with them, and then not only just say, okay, now you work with us and that's it. There should be continuous um, uh, training or little workshops here and there, just even if it's customer service, not doesn't have to be to do with exercise. um, yeah, I think that's a lot of what's missing at the moment.
We spoke about it a number of times regarding the lack of community within the gym environment. Whereas, as you brought up earlier, you feeling as if you belong, feeling as if you want to go there, feeling as if you're going to know the people that are going to be there, feeling as if you know you're going to get on with them, feel as if there's a good atmosphere. That community seems to be lacking in a lot of areas here.
Yeah, I think so. Again, it revolves around the people that you have, you know, in your club or in your gym. How are they involved in getting to know their clients, becoming close to their clients or their members, taking an interest in what their members want, what they are happy with, what they are not happy with. Um, Gyms are places where initially there are social places. People go because there's people, there is an atmosphere, they're doing something that is making them healthy. Um, but building a community revolves around the people that are involved in your club, the people that work in your club. How do they are they very are they just do they take it just as a job, or do they take it as part of their duty as a coach or as a manager or as a responsible person to build an atmosphere where everybody feels comfortable, everybody gets on with everybody as far as possible, and want to be in that place every day because they just feel like it's somewhere where they enjoy being. Um, so that's quite that takes time. That takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of um, sometimes some situations where there's a little bit of confrontation, and then eventually you get past that, and people understand the whole philosophy of the way you're running your club, and they support it, and you support them, and you continue going that way. And then it's year by year you're building. You start building a friendship. You start building more trust. You start building better communication. You start building. These are all things that come with time, but with a lot of patience and a lot of commitment to making your clients happy with everything, not just because it's the best equipment you have in your gym, and you give the best classes. It's, are they enjoying the classes? Are they doing it because they like doing it with the people that are there, or is it just because that's there, it's available, and we let's go and do it. So the community part is very, very important. That's why CrossFit is so popular, because CrossFit is a real community. People go in there and they support each other with everything that they do, whether you're really fit, whether you can do a pull-up or you can't do a pull-up, doesn't matter. You're in here, we're with you, we're going to help you through this. And it's the good thing with CrossFit is not just about the instructor or the coach. He's really important. But the people around the coach, the participants, the members, the clients, they are play a big role. And if you can create that community in a local gym, now you're looking at 3 times the amount of people than a CrossFit box. Your club will boom. People will want to come there because they see that people are continuously going to the gym. They've been there for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. Their children are coming to your gym. And they get older and they still come to your gym. They get married, they come to your gym. So it's a process of building that domino effect where people are happy and they're going to tell the next person, I love this place, I love going there, you should go. And then it just rolls on from there. It's not just about paying your subs and turning up. It's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than that. It's easy to convince somebody to join as a member and pay their membership fees for a month or for a year or whatever. But how do you make sure that person gets value for his money? And that is I think where we in the industry are still trying to find our path to get that at a level where it becomes, because Mauritius is small, so you don't have there is competition, but there's enough people for you to create these little communities in your club. So we should take it really seriously. I think it's something that has to be approached, and I think that will make the clubs more successful in business.
I know you're injured at this moment in time. Fran has an injury, but putting that to one side, on a normal working week, on a normal working day, can you describe what your average day looks like and let the viewers know?
All right, so I'm an early person, so I like to start moving really early. So my first clients are 6:30 in the morning, and most days I do a client, then I'll teach a group class, and then I'll do 3 or 4, 5 clients until around midday, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Then I take a little break until around 4, and then I'm either teaching a class, and if I am, I'll teach the class, and then I have 2 or 3 clients after that. So that's my week in general is like that. That's about 8 to 10 clients, or at least 8 to 10 hours of activity a day, including group classes. That's it. And the other times when I'm not in the gym, I'm preparing for the next day, because not all my clients are the same clients each day. So it's not just during the time that I'm with my clients that I'm working, it's a lot after. So it might be when I get back home in the evening, or during my rest time in between lunch and the afternoon sessions. So it's constant. It's constant work, but I love it. I wouldn't change my job for anything. I think it's something that I think it's the job that I was born to do, in my opinion. I love the passion of exercise. I love bringing people to a version of themselves that they're happy with. And for me, and if I say, if I can do that for one person in my whole life, then I've done something that's meant a lot to me. So I approach my work in that context. I just want to make people feel better after they've spent an hour or 45 minutes with me, and they walk out and they say, I'm better now than when I walked in. And if I can do that, and I can do that continuously, and again, it becomes a habit. People come to you, you feel good. They do your session, they come tomorrow, they feel good, and then they just keep feeling good because it's repetition. That's how it goes, you know. So yeah, I've long days, but most days are tiring, of course, but I enjoy every minute, every second of it.
But you continued to become qualified. Well, continue to qualify. You do other exams.
So
I know you talk about releases
yeah,
on a regular basis.
so I'm there's in the fitness industry, it's constantly changing. You know what they will tell you today, that you can do this exercise, it's good for you, and then in the next week they'll say, no, sorry, this isn't good for you anymore. So I think it's super important to stay updated, um, do as many um, continuous exercise credits as possible, even if they're small. It might be specializing in strength conditioning or senior fitness. And these are the things that that are important as a trainer, because I have to. Why I say this is because I have my client base actually revolves around very different age groups. I have teenagers, I have um, middle-aged men,
All the way
older
to my
men,
age.
old senior citizens.
Thank you.
He knows what I'm saying. But so I think it's important to be able to cater and understand. And each one of these takes a different approach, takes a different conversation, and each one of them have a different goal. And so your preparation is super important. But that's what makes what I do so interesting and so refreshing when I finish a day and say, today I saw two teenagers, two middle-aged people, three seniors, and one 50-year-old, and they all left the session feeling really good about themselves. For me, that's the ideal day.
So is that your buzz? You know, is there something in your job? This one particular thing you get, a real buzz out of?
Um, for me, the buzz is the the joy that I see in people when they come to their session and when they leave their session. I like to feel like when they come, they're smiling because they're happy to be with me. And then when they leave, they're smiling because they've enjoyed what they've done and they know that they're going to see me again. It might have been a really tough session, but whatever it might be, I think it's the buzz for me is making people happy. That is my ultimate goal. Whenever I'm training, whether it's in a group class or whether it's in a personal training environment, or whether it's just me walking around the gym and giving tips here and there, or giving some correction in posture or in positioning or in effort, and you tell somebody or you give somebody a tip and they say thank you, and that for me is just it makes everything I do worth it.
For me, that smile is a grimace. That's the pain I'm in when you've left me.
Yeah. But I look at it. I look at everything positively. So you can have your grimace, but for me, that's a smile. As long as
No,
there's an
I'm
expression,
joking. I am smiling.
expression in your
Yeah,
face, it means there's something that's happened.
yeah. We have a lot of banter going on, especially around football and everything else,
We
don't we,
do
as well?
all the time.
Okay, so if in your mind, what would be the perfect gymnasium? What would be the perfect if you could go and have a shopping list and fill your Santa sack full of sections of, and how would it look? How would it feel?
Okay. Uh, Again, first and foremost is the people. I would want to have the best, most charismatic, most dedicated, most passionate uh, people working in my gym, from the reception to the housekeeping to the responsible managers to the group class instructors to the personal trainers to the gym instructors, um, throughout. I think that is of major importance. And then, of course, equipment, environment, um, um, uh, everything that's modern in the fitness industry, um, including a health bar, or not just a restaurant, but somewhere where people can after training, or sit down and have a smoothie or a protein shake, not just have to sit down and think of, okay, I'm going to have a burger or whatever it might be. But these are little supplements to the main core of um, what I see. I mean, it's my idea is that if you my ideal this is my ideal scenario. I have a gym or a club that when you walk in, you don't want to leave. If you're somebody that is self-employed and can work from home, you will come to the gym, you'll have a workout, you'll have a meal, and you'll stay in that area and do your work, because it's somewhere where you feel super comfortable and everything's there for you. You know, um, I want it to be somewhere where you can't wait to come back every time you leave. Yes, it's to do with the quality of your infrastructure. Yes, um, very important, of course, but I cannot express the importance of who is in your team to allow that to be inculcated in the service you give throughout and continuously. You know, so people for me is the key, and I think that's the most difficult um, obstacle, because finding people is extremely hard uh, in any industry, especially in Mauritius, because it's very small and it's very limited. There's not enough. There's no uh, education that is out there that you can do all the time, and there's none of that. So it's really about, if you want to do this job, you've got to make a really big effort to 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 make the step in the direction with continuous education or sharing with other instructors. I've always been so. Again, it comes from a coaching perspective. I've always been an instructor or a manager or that loves to share. I'm never somebody who's going to keep information or something that's new or a skill to myself. I will always share it with whoever needs the help. I think there's a little uh, attitude in around Mauritius where people are afraid to share because they feel like you're competition, and you're going to take something away from them. Uh, that is something that I think has to change. And as instructors, as managers, I think if we were able to find a common ground and help each other grow, it would only be best for our businesses. You know, so yeah, I think, as I said, people for me, your people working with you who think along the same lines as you. That's the key. You can have the best equipment in the world, best environment in the world, best club, best whatever it might be. But if the people aren't right, I think your business will struggle.
I agree with that. And obviously, yes, we live on an island. It's a small island, but there are a lot of people that are moving from overseas to here. So a lot of expats coming along, and I know there's a number of those that become your clients.
Yeah.
Those potential people that we're talking to now, that are moving over here, what would you recommend to them when looking for not just a gym, but actually for a trainer? What they should look out for in Mauritius and be aware of?
Okay, that's actually a really good question. Um, so most clubs now offer personal training, which is quite a new thing in Mauritius. It wasn't 25 years ago. It was very rare, and it wasn't something that was actually being done in the gyms. You would just have gym instructors, and they would just help you spot you on your chest, or hand your weight or whatever. Um, Now, it's become a key element or key factor in the success of your club because it brings in income that is significant. Um, so personal trainers are actually important to clubs. So when you're new to a club and new to an island and you don't know, which club to go to and where the best trainers are, it's important to feel. I think trainers, again, it's about connection. Um, I think it's important to, when you go to a gym and ask for a personal trainer, you should be able to meet two or three of them and have a chat with them and see whether there's a connection, whether there's a rapport. Um, Maybe, ask them a little bit about their experience and what they've done and how long they've been working in the industry, and what are their objectives when they have a client. Well, how do they approach their clients? So it's important to know a little bit about the trainer, not just turn up and say, okay, you're my personal trainer and let's go start training.
So it's almost like an interview.
It's almost like an interview. It has to be an interview because, first of all, you're paying quite a lot of money for your personal trainer. You want the equivalent in the service. And you can't have that if you're just going to turn up and say, let's start training. What I do and what I encouraged a lot of my trainers to do before is that if somebody contacts you, your first job or chore or responsibility is to meet that person. So that person can get to know you, and you can get to know that person, because that person might be somebody that you don't want to work with. Maybe it's somebody who's just very demanding and very erratic and won't show up for that. There are certain things that you can kind of build and understand in your first meeting, and it helps that person as well to get to know you. So I like to encourage that. I will never take a client and say, okay, you want to do personal training, let's do it. I avoid that. There are some people who turn up to a gym and say, listen, I need to work out. Can you do this for me today? That's a one-off. That can happen. But if it's somebody that's putting trust in you to take them through their journey, you need to know that person a little bit better. Both client and instructor. What their goals are, what their drawbacks are, what their lifestyle is. Do they have a family? Because that can mean, okay, I can't train at certain times, etc., etc. What's their work environment like? All of these things are important to know, and the same for the person looking for the personal trainer. Um, can I understand what he's saying when he talks? Does he seem to understand what I want? Is he putting what I want first, or what he knows first, or she knows first?
Or what he thinks.
Or what he exactly.
I want.
Is he going to be there for me when I'm not feeling great, or I'm not even training, I'm not able to train? Is he somebody who's just going to be in touch with me when I'm in the gym with him? Or is it, I'm not feeling well, Fran, I'm not coming to the gym today? Does he send you a text, or does she send you a text saying, how are you feeling today? What can I do anything for you? Do you need me to I don't know, call a doctor? Or I don't know what it might be, something like that. It doesn't matter. But these are the things that you need to look at. Are they putting your best interests as a priority as a personal trainer? Okay, so first of all, try to meet 2 or 3. Some gyms have a lot more, but you don't need. You can choose. Have a discussion with them. Have a coffee with them. Have a chat. Get a feel of what their approach to fitness is, what their experience is, what their character is, if you can, right at the top in one meeting. But I think you can get a good feel anyway, and then go from there. I think that would. It's the thing is, I'm also somebody who has clients who are. I look at my clients, even as long term, as till the future. I don't look at my clients as you've taken a package of 10 and I'm going to work with you for 10 sessions. My idea is to make sure that client, after the 10 sessions, feels so comfortable with me and feels so happy with what we're doing that they want to continue with me. It's not just about that selling a package of 10 sessions, saying, okay, we're going to do 10 sessions, and then, thank you very much, and that's it. I never approach people will say, I'll take 10 session package with you. I'll say, great, super, let's start, and then we'll work things out as we go along. And 90% of my clients, unless they've left the country or they just didn't like me or I didn't like them, we stop at 10. But I can say as of now that my clients have been with me, 90% of my clients have been with me for more than 4, 5, 6 years. And that's because they feel the trust in me. They understand that I'm there for them in whatever it might be. And I think that's important. If you can find people that are dedicated to what you want and your future and your journey, and can listen to what you have to say and what you want, not just tell you what to do. I think that's super important. So rapport with your trainer, his experience, his certification. He might have a very basic certification, but he's a really good instructor, and has a good rapport, has good charisma, and you feel that there's a connection. That's fine, but don't go into anything that too blindly. Okay, and most clubs will say all our trainers are really good. They're good because they've got certification. Yes, everybody's got to have a certification. If you're a personal trainer, you have to have some certification. But it doesn't mean you're a good instructor, and it doesn't mean you're going to connect with everybody. It's a lot about personal training. Is connection. It's rapport. that's prior. That is what's going to get your client ahead, and of course the knowledge that you have. But being able to tr- to transfer what you know is going to be beneficial for them reaching their goals in whatever time frame, or it might be short, it might be long, it might be lifetime, uh, it might be because they've got a health issue, and whatever it might be. So it's super important to understand your trainer before you decide that you're going to have that person, he or she is your trainer. I like to, I mean, my, I like to think that people I train are excited to come and spend 45 minutes with me. Sometimes we have a session of 45 minutes and we might work out for 20 minutes because on that day, that person isn't in the best mental frame of mind and just needs somebody who's going to listen and, um, and just listen. And we might be, she might, or he might talk for 20 minutes about how he's feeling and what's happened at home, or at work, or in his family, or something that's really upset him. And sometimes that happens. But that's what personal trainers are also there for. It's not just the physical, it's also the mental. And that's super important. If you can understand that as a personal trainer, you will build a lot of trust in your clients, and you will continue to have a good rapport and a good, you know, um, continuation of clients, basically, for however long you want. So that's important. Yeah, it's a lot of
Fran's been
a lot
my therapist for years.
Yeah. Can you see now? Can you see the effects? I've even grown a moustache.
Well, that's one of the questions. When did it coming off?
So I'm doing this because it's November. All right, I'm so I'm trying to do my part for the men who need the support mentally, physically. Men are often taken for granted, and they're the big macho alpha males who don't need to talk about anything, even if they've got issues, and that's not true. That's what I stand for. I've been a Mobro for 4 years now, and it's something that I will do for the rest of my life. And just supporting men in whatever little way I can, and hence the moustache. Not bad, actually.
Can we have the wax on
I
the
don't
end?
know.
The
We'll
wax
see.
tips?
We've got 2 more weeks left. I might be able to have a little.
That'd be great.
There you go. That's the moustache.
Okay. One of the other things I'm curious about is, okay, so you've been around the industry for a long time now. You've been around, obviously, in Mauritius and doing this in Mauritius. Where do you see the future going with the industry over here? What would you like to see as well?
Okay. So the industry at the moment is still a little bit selective. It has not been able to cater for the whole community, meaning that there are clubs that are opening and that are currently running that isn't accessible to everybody. I think so. I see fitness as a global and a global thing. As a coach, as an instructor, as a passionate sports person, I would like everybody to have access to being fitter, healthier, and better. And I think what needs to be done in the industry is to have more of that available to the little fishing village in La Golette, for example, in Riambel, where the younger people, the older people can go and, stay relatively fit and healthy. Uh, that's ideally where I would like the industry to go. The industry is not yet going that way because it's a business, and the clubs that are being currently opened are a massive uh, business where their focus is on client inflow, membership increase, um, and you know, paying a membership, whether it's monthly or yearly or lifetime, hasn't yet come in, but that will come in, I'm sure. Hopefully, you know. Um, and then once you get in, they'll say, okay, now you need personal training. Okay, you've got to pay a little extra. Okay, these are specialized classes. These cost a little bit more. Um, you need nutritionist. Okay, you've got to pay a little bit more. So the clubs are now becoming that way because they realize that these are other ways of making ancillary income apart from their 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 membership. It's crazy. Their memberships. So it's going in that way. There's a lot of what's happening now is their clubs are beginning to franchise. There are 2 or 3 clubs that are kind of monopolizing the central of the island. And I think that's going to happen more with the clubs that are a little bit more financially stable. There will be these clubs. Now, the thing is that these clubs, again, uh, who are they catering for? Who are they going to cater for? That's a worry for me.
So what you're looking for, correct me if I'm wrong, is we talked about community earlier, but it's actually literally giving back to the community and giving community access.
Yeah. So that is for me that makes a big difference in the way people view your club. There is
They consider it long term.
They consider it long term. So I'll take a little experience that I've had. So I worked in a club where it was a big club with a lot of different activities, not just a gym, very, very small gym, uh, uh, swimming pool, tennis court, football ground, um, volleyball court. I mean, lots of different little activities, little sports activities, and a restaurant adjacent. So what would happen is that people would come to the club and they would swim, and their children would swim, and the mum would go and do a session on the treadmill, and then they'd all go as a family and have a pancake and coffee at the restaurant. And then that happened every day, and you'd find that the whole club was filled with seniors, adults, married, singles, teenagers, children, babies, and it was somewhere where they would come every day and want to be every day, and that created a flow of, you see the same people every day, you will want to get to know them. You will say hello, and then you'll become, my kid's the same age as your kid, or they go to the same school, and then they start, blending in. And it's not just at the club they socialize outside the club, they become friends, etc. So I know people that so this is in the West, and they moved or decided to live in the West because there was this club. You see? So for me, it's creating, again, it's just simply creating somewhere where everybody can go, everybody can feel comfortable, everybody can enjoy being there and want to come back, as often as they want. And that, again, that revolves around, how you want to not, I won't say market, but people to see what your club or your gym or your whatever it is that you're running is looking toward. So community for me is super important. I'm somebody who would gladly work and go once a week or 2 times a week in a village community center, and just to be there and say, okay, come and join, come to the gym today, and I'll give you a little program and we'll have fun, and we'll, but then hopefully that is something that they will continue to do. Um, so that's talking about people who can't afford to go to the big clubs with the big membership fees and the ancillary fees to play squash or to play tennis or to play paddle or to join a group class. That is I think there's a little bit missing there, and that's making the community or the general public um, uh, less healthy,
Well, I
basically.
like the concept of, perhaps, an environment or an area within, let's say, a gym that has, I don't know, let's say a beginners area, and not, that introduces them to gymnasiums for the, for the first time, that they try out, with basic weights and, the various exercise machines that, and everybody, the other items that they're paid for, but it gives them an environment where they can perhaps have lessons or classes, free classes, that type of thing. And it is an introductory, is that they introducing not just the younger generation, but any level.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I like the concept. Yeah. Okay. Um, okay. I think what I'd like to do now, I think we've had a good conversation. We've had a good chat. What I want to do is just give you the floor to say whatever you want to say. If you haven't already said it, and it may be just goodbye, I don't know. Had enough. But yeah, to give you the floor and just let people know what you're up to.
I think I've
yeah,
pretty
you're all
much
good.
expressed my my passion for the industry and how I think it should. I think needs where there's some work to be done in a lot of areas, and I just hope that it goes that way, and the responsible people, the management, the coaches, the personal trainers take what they do a little bit more seriously, in terms of how they what service are they giving, and how they're giving the service, and how are they making what they do really important to the general public, to the general. So what they're doing is they're contributing to a community that wants to get healthier, and they're key. Apart from doctors, so are personal trainers, so are coaches, so are gym instructors. They have a key responsibility to help and promote and keep people as healthy as possible for as long as possible. So they can lead their best life for as long as they're alive. I think we, as instructors and as personal trainers, we should start to think along those lines. And you can't go wrong if you do that, because if you're giving a service that makes people feel good about themselves every time they're with you, you can't go wrong. You can you can have the best exercises, the best equipment, the best kit, whatever it might be. But if you're not able to transfer all of that into how you coach it and how your clients respond to it, it just becomes then a chore, a job. I'm doing it, I'm getting paid, and that's it. It's a lot more than that. It's much more than that. So as long as we, as trainers and as coaches, try to apply the philosophy of improvement and health guidance for longer life for your clients, I think we're on a good that would be a great step. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, I'm, you know, this is my life. This is what I do, and this is what I will do for the rest of my life. And hopefully I can get back into it, because
Well, you need to.
I'm
Sort yourself out.
there you go.
From my personal point of view, I believe that Fran is the best in the business and is the best coach I've ever had in a gym. And I'll be leaving his details on this podcast. So please contact him. If you're on the island, if you're coming to the island, he's your man. And he'll look after you 100%. I can guarantee that. So yeah, thanks for coming in today.
My pleasure.
Fran.
That was enjoyable.
It was good, and hopefully this is the first of many. So I think next time when we do these, and we'll do these as often as we can, I would suggest we'll have specific topics and cover, various attributes or sections within it, or various types of training. I think we've got good fun to do. Yeah, cool.
I'm in
too. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great day, and see you on the next one.